everyone, it's Sandy. So if you've watched my previous video about the 4 seasons of the menstrual cycle and how they mirror our earthly seasons, you'll know that your body goes through some pretty dramatic shifts each month. But today I want to talk about something else that doesn't get discussed enough: your energy levels and how they fluctuate throughout your cycle. Because here's the thing, we live in a world that expects us to show up exactly the same way throughout our cycle. Same productivity, same social energy, same everything, but our bodies just aren't designed to work that way. And when we try and force consistency onto a system that is naturally cyclical, it's easy to end up feeling exhausted and frustrated and wondering why we can't just meet up to our own and other people's expectations. So today I'm diving into why your energy changes throughout your cycle, what exactly is influencing these changes hormonally, and how you can work with your body instead of against it throughout your cycle. So I'm going to start with the why. Firstly, your menstrual cycle isn't something that just exists to prepare your body for pregnancy and childbirth. It's a really fundamental base of all operations in your body. This means that the hormones that affect and control your menstrual cycle also influence your metabolism, your immune system, your sleep and waking processes, your energy levels, and everything in between. And crucially, how your brain processes information. This is something that I really want to focus on in this video. So when estrogen rises during your follicular phase, it has an energizing effect on your body. It upregulates serotonin and dopamine in the brain. People often talk about these neurotransmitters as like feel-good chemicals, but their real function is more about motivation and drive. So they really shape the way that you perceive the world around you and the way that you're able to pursue your goals. Estrogen at this stage in your follicular phase also has an effect on increasing your metabolic output. So not only do you have more physical stamina, you also have more mental energy and drive. Then after we hit that peak at ovulation, it's like progesterone comes in to take over to be the primary hormone. And progesterone just has a completely different vibe. It's kind of relaxing, sedating almost, and you would have felt this effect if you've taken something like Progesti. Progesterone raises your body temperature slightly, which is why you might feel slightly warmer or tend towards night sweats in your luteal phase, and it affects your metabolism. So you actually do burn more calories at rest. Your basic metabolic rate increases in your luteal phase, which is why you might feel hungrier than usual. You might find it difficult to stick to eating and meal plans, and you might find yourself reaching for snacks more often. Like I said, progesterone can have this palpable relaxing effect, which is really great for your nervous system and when you're looking to rest easier at night. But it can be really difficult if you're in your luteal phase at the same time where you have a big project that you're doing a sort of like hard sprint on and you're trying to force yourself to be really productive and focused. The takeaway here is that you're not imagining it. Your energy levels do fluctuate alongside your hormones throughout your menstrual cycle. If we can keep this in mind, then it allows us to be able to use this and think of it as a feature of the body instead of a flaw that has to be pummeled and ironed out so that we can be more productive for the purpose of capital and the economy as an abstract idea. So let's break down what this actually looks like across the cycle. So I've previously described menstruation as the winter in our seasonal arc of the menstrual cycle. So this is a really great reset period. When you're bleeding, both estrogen and progesterone are at their lowest. And for many women, this is a really great period for introspection, keeping to yourself and figuring out things going on within yourself. I usually find that it's a really good time for mental clarity because there tends to be this amnesia that happens the week before my period, and other people say they experience this too, where you're just like, oh, what's going on? Like everything is so annoying. You find yourself crying at the littlest things, and then you see the blood and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm not crazy, it's just my period. So then you get that Okay, periods here, mental clarity. Along with this, your physical energy might be lower. You might find yourself moving slower, especially on days where your flow is heavier. And this is where I would encourage making time for more rest, changing any exercise routines so that you have more gentle movement at this time, scheduling more alone time, just having more quiet and more peace where you can. Then we get the follicular phase, which is the springtime, a rising in energy. This is after your period ends and estrogen levels start to rise again. I usually find it easier to wake up in the morning, and it really is much like the real season of spring. It's March here in the UK. It's springtime, the sun is rising earlier, and I'm finding it much easier to wake up and get out of bed. And that's similar to the feeling that you get in your follicular phase. It's like your body's waking up again. We really do mirror this world that we evolved in. I believe in so many ways, but I don't want to get too woo-woo on main. In your personal springtime, your follicular phase, you might find it easier to initiate tasks, to tackle more challenging things that have been on your to-do list, to go out and socialize with people, to try new things. This is also when you're going to find that you probably, if you wear like a tracking thing like I do, you're going to find that it's the easiest time for you to recover from exercise and also cognitively to learn new things. So put yourself out there both physically and mentally in this phase of your cycle. Then we get ovulation, which is the peak. We might call this the summer. This is an energetic high point. Testosterone surges, and you'll probably find yourself feeling your most confident and outgoing and powerful and able to do and to be out there. This is the time for me, because I'm an introvert, I usually leave this time for my most important interpersonal tasks. So, like important meetings, difficult conversations, presentations, doing things that put me out there in front of other people, like filming a video and posting it and having to be perceived by people. If you can, I would encourage you to schedule things like interviews and auditions for this stage of your cycle as well. I know it's like a very short window of time, but that's kind of optimal. Then we start to experience the descent, which is the beginning of the luteal phase, the descent or the autumn of your cycle. This is when progesterone should be rising. Some of us don't experience a rise in progesterone, which is why we can experience more extreme PMS symptoms, mood swings, depression, things like that. But for everyone, regardless of whether this stage of your cycle is disordered or normal, you will experience a kind of slowing down. You might begin to feel more introverted, a little bit more sensitive. Certain things that seemed easy during follicular and ovulation peak are a little bit more of a slog, that sort of thing. You might find that you're hungrier, you need more sleep, but you're struggling to actually rest adequately. So this is when things can get challenging and people can start to feel like it's some kind of personal failing. Like, if I can be okay last week, why can't I still be okay now? Or if I was able to get this amount of work done in this chunk of time last week, why can't I do the same thing now? And I think it's really important to be aware of this natural slowing down in your energy so that when the time comes, you're not blaming yourself for not being able to stay at the peak of something that is literally like a Ferris wheel. You can't be at the top all the time. You can't stay stuck. Things continue to move. There's literally nothing wrong with you. And I wouldn't even say that our cognitive abilities are reduced at this stage. It's just that certain things become easier and certain things become more difficult. For example, I find it a lot more easy to empathize with people. My focus isn't so good, but I feel more expansive and sensitive, more perceptive, perhaps more intuitive at this stage of my cycle. And those things might not be valuable in the sense that you can't necessarily trade your intuition for money unless you are like someone who works with divination or something like that. Most of us aren't, so it might feel like it's less valuable. But there are things that you can use that energy to work with. Find a way that it applies to your life. Okay, so how to actually work with all of this knowledge that we have now. First of all, track your cycle. And I don't just mean knowing when your period is about to start so you can run out and get a new pack of pads. No, I mean track your symptoms, track your energy levels, your mood, your motivation, your sleep quality throughout the month. All it takes is a few cycles, at least 3, and then you'll start to figure out your own general patterns. Don't take the generalizations that I make in this video or across any of the general content that I disseminate as gospel, because your body is different to everyone else's. It's different to mine. Maybe your energy doesn't drop until day 25 of your 27-day cycle. Maybe you feel really incredible during menstruation and really bad at ovulation. Maybe your libido peaks during the last phase of your luteal and during your menstrual phase instead of at ovulation when everybody says it should. We're all different, and knowing your unique pattern so that you know when something is going wrong or changing for you is what matters the most. Knowing all that, then you can start to schedule your life in a strategic way. You can put your biggest projects, your most important social commitments, your most challenging tasks at the time where you are at peak energy. And then you can leave room for more rest, more me time, more alone time when your energy levels are lower. I know that we can't always control our schedules in this way because life happens, things vary, but small adjustments can really help, even if it's just the adjustment of not blaming yourself for not acting in a robotic way, not acting in the way that you feel like you should. At least you can check your tracking app and think, oh yeah, that's why I just cried at that video of a puppy playing. I want to emphasize this because this is a lesson that I've been learning for the past few months, is to adjust your expectations. You're different to other people and you're different to yourself at different stages. You can't be productive in the same way every single day. I'm not a farmer, but I know that there is a season for sowing, a season for nurturing and cultivating, and a season for harvesting, and also a season to rest. We're not different to the earth, and as much as the conveniences of modern life might make that less obvious, we can't actually cut ourselves off entirely from earthly rhythms that have been around forever. It's also really important to support your body's needs. I talked earlier about cravings. They, especially in the luteal phase, don't come from nowhere. Like I said, at certain times in your cycle, you will need more food, you will need more sleep. Be aware of that and support yourself accordingly. That can be really helpful in feeling the best that you can at each stage of your cycle. I don't like to give out general diet advice because everybody eats differently, and I feel like everybody's needs are also different. So if you're interested in going more granular with that, then you can book an appointment with me. And I'd also like to say that if you live with people especially, or work very closely with people, then it's good to communicate your needs in the same way that it's good for you to be aware of your varying needs across your cycle and varying strengths and weaknesses across your cycle. It's important for the people around you to be able to, maybe if they can't necessarily make changes to accommodate them, at least they can be aware. Something simple like, hey, it's the week before my period, I'm a little bit more sensitive right now, is enough. Now, I do really want to be clear about something. While I have emphasized the natural variation that exists within one's own cycle and also between different people and how they each experience their menstrual cycles, some things are not normal. For one example, if you're completely debilitated during your luteal phase, and I'm talking can't work, can't do anything that you want to, extreme depression, feelings of suicidality, and it's just for that period, and you notice that across cycles it is just for that period, then that's likely PMDD. That's something that you may want to seek diagnosis for, and you definitely want to seek treatment for. Other things like extremely low energy, those could be due to anemia, thyroid issues, other conditions, and you definitely want to seek professional help for things like that. If you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments, do you notice any particular symptoms or energy changes throughout your cycle? Maybe something quirky or something that you didn't realize was connected to your cycle until recently, or until maybe watching this video. And also, what ways have you found to work with energy changes and symptoms that come along with your menstrual cycle? I'd really love to hear your stories. And if you are struggling with hormonal chaos, crazy cycles, irregularity, energy crashes, mood swings, please do get in touch. This is what I help women with in my herbal practice. I'll put a link to book a free discovery call with me in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.